Right, here comes a boat, so I better hang on. Literally, as I'm casting off, here comes a boat. Afternoon. The guy is going very politely, slowly. Now there is one slight downside with that, which is that I'm going to have to go slowly as well, because I'm going to be behind him. And that's the way it goes. That's literally the way it goes in summer, all year round. Arrive somewhere 3 minutes later than planned, or preferred, or whenever, arrive 3 minutes late, and you can be stuck. Now in this case I'm stuck behind a slow boat, because he is, I'm a slow boat, but he is a properly slow boat. That guy who just went past. So it's about a 3-hour cruise, this one. This is no mere bagatelle, if a cruise can ever be called that. This isn't one of those easy peasy jobs that I normally do. I've got my sun hat on. This, when the sun comes out, it's absolutely ferocious. By UK standards anyway. Oh, hello. Sorry, I was talking to a camera. Oh, look out. So I was talking to Le Camera, and a lady about a yard away, 2 yards away on a boat as I was passing, was stood behind some clothes hanging up to dry. Didn't spot her until the last minute. No, past the last minute, because I was blabbing away like a maniac. Anyway, I'm not that fussed on all that, but I do like to explain. If someone actually just sees me talk, especially if I'm waving the arms around. I do like to try and explain what it is that I'm up to. So, what is it that I'm up to? That's the question, isn't it? So I'm leaving Whittington. It's Whittington, which is built up. It's not built up really. It's very nice actually. Lovely little town. Really well to do. Very posh accents knocking about them, which is fine. I haven't got a problem with any of that. It's nice to hear. Nice civilised sort of middle and upper class type accents in the co-op. But when it wasn't so great is there's only a co-op. There's not much here. There's 2 pubs, but they're not really an easy walk. They're not a quick walk. I haven't tried those. I've only been here a couple of days. I'm heading to this is a bit weird, this, what I'm going to sort of outline now, but I've sort of got to do it this way. I'll just say, oh no, you're going to see where I'm going, aren't you? Because you're going to watch the video and you're going to see. Okay, so I'll explain. What I won't do is I won't tell you the date, because I don't want to have any issues of being accused of overstaying too long in a particular location, I don't want that. Right, so past the last of the boats, let's get our foot down. Now I'll do my normal cruising speed and see what the guy behind me thinks of it. The guy in front may have just been going slow for the boats, the moored boats, which is great to see. It's not been happening often. Or he may just be a slow cruiser. I'll find out in a mo. We'll see how that goes. But we're now up to a sort of a more normal cruising speed, I feel. We're approaching 3 miles an hour. Or we will be soon, because we're doing 1300, 1250. Let's go up to 1300. Loads of reeds here as well. It's a lovely sight, all of these reeds. You know, it gives it a really natural feel, like a riverbank, when it's an artificial gash in the ground with water poured in and the bottom sealed. You know, it's artificial. Anyway, you know. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the reeds just make it more interesting because they cut down the navigation room. So if boats do come the other way, it can get a little bit tricky. We're leaving Whittington and we're going to end up in Streethay, near to Streethay. Now the reason I'm going to do that, it's getting a bit breezy out in the open. Bloody hell, well I'm glad, because the sun, when that sun comes out, it's absolutely ferocious, honestly. It's really hot. The inside of the boat, I've been doing some editing this morning, inside of the boat's been really hot, so you've got to have a fan on all the time. A fan pointing at you, and you're still barely cool enough. But this is it, you know, it's the last week of June. So we're starting to really get up to temperature now. Horsefly repellent. Horsefly repellent. It's not even a question today as to whether I put this on. I'm not even going to ask myself how silly or otherwise it is. And I'm going to spray some randomly around the stern. It's what I like to do, as a sort of a way, I hope, of dissuading them from landing too close. Anyway, the guy is keeping his distance from me, so that's good. I'm not catching him up. He's not turned into a super slow cruiser. He's doing a normal speed, so that's great. So yeah, I say it was a bit breezy. It was breezy. We were in the open briefly. There's a windmill over there, and that's static. So it's not that breezy. So it's ideal conditions for the horseflies, isn't it? It's absolutely ideal. We don't appear to be troubled by them too much in this area. We're getting into the kind of weather where it can happen that cameras overheat. Like last summer, turn that off. Last summer, the camera up front, a couple of times actually, overheated and went funny. So I lost like an hour of the footage, which is a shame. That's my favourite footage. The forward footage. That's the footage I'll look back on the most. It won't be me prattling away. I don't know, you know, who can tell? Or at least there'll be as much the forward footage as it will be me. Now the guy behind me is keeping a distance, so that's great. And I'm sort of, at the speed I'm doing, which I think is normal, 1300 RPM for me, I'm keeping an even distance from the guy in front. I don't appear to be closing him down. The guy behind might be closing me, I don't know. I'm going to up it a teeny bit. Now hopefully the guy behind me, if he is a speedster, he'll see that there's a boat in front and that I can't do anything about it. So hopefully he won't close up. There are a couple knocking about who just in such a hurry that they'll close right up, like car drivers do when they're impatient and they want to get past you on a motorway, in the outside lane, wherever, on any road. They'll close right up to your rear bumper. and just make themselves a constant presence and a nuisance. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But it happens now and again. It's a rare thing. I'm not going to try and over dramatise it. It is a fairly rare thing. Certainly more common in the summer when people want to cover distances quickly. That's understandable, but it's not a common thing. Unless, I'll tell you when you would find it to be a common thing. If your normal cruising speed was like 1.5 miles an hour, or maybe even as high as 2, which isn't that fast, then people will come up close behind, I think. But you know, I don't do that. If I see I'm in a convoy and we're all moving, I'll try and keep pace with the convoy because I don't want to slow people down. Or if I'm really not in the mood, if it's someone really fast, and it has happened very, very rarely. One guy beat me. He was in some kind of a trad and he beat me. I was going to pull over for him anyway because I was about to moor in a few hundred yards, but I couldn't, my voice wouldn't carry to him to explain that I was going to pull over anyway, but he was doing about sort of 6 miles an hour. He was absolutely racing in this strad. Must have had an amazing propeller and engine combination. But he was fully cosplayed up with the top hat and everything, waistcoat, neckerchief. He was doing the full. He was in full in on the cosplay, on the whole historic canal thing. But you know what? He didn't come across like a bad guy. As he went past, I said, "That thing can't half shift, can't it?" Because I was trying to keep ahead of him, and he was right. He clearly wanted to get past, and in the end, he beat me. He beat, and rather than shout, "Yeah, I'm pulling over in half a mile," so I'll pull over. And he was in a hurry to get to the River Nene. This was on the Llangollen. Where the hell was this? It was north of Whitchurch. Yeah. There's a turn here. I said I'm going to Streethay, and the astute viewers will go, "Hang on, you were at Streethay." Well, I've got to go back because I'm getting a repair done. The central heating repair is still not complete. The guy's not been well. Oh shit. While I'm sorting my phone out, front end swinging over the canal. So, what was I going to say? Oh, so I've got to go back. And that means I'm finding a winding hole, which is about a mile away, which, to be honest, we won't be too far away from. I'm finding a winding hole, and then I'm going to go back. And it's a late start, and it's a bit of a late start. The reason it's a late start is because it's not a very good reason. It's only a 3-hour cruise, so I could do it any time. I wanted to wait till later in the day. I've just hit the side in that bridge hole. I wanted to wait till later in the day. That was massively wide as well. No excuse. I was going to wait till later in the day. Let's get the map up. It was only about a mile, and we may have. Where the It's 0.5 miles away. Crow flies, probably a teeny bit more. Got to keep my eye on it because if I miss that one, the next one's about another 3 or 4 miles. So there's another 2 hours each way, and I won't make it back to Streethay. Not today anyway, get back tomorrow. It's not the end, none of it is the end of the world. Let me make that as clear as possible. But, got to go back to Streethay. It's a bit of a weird mooring, it's a lonely mooring, you're kind of out on your own, and you're cut off by the A38. Such a weird mooring that, but very quiet, very peaceful. So I've got to do another job on the roof. And the one thing about popular places like Whittington, where you get a fair bit of foot traffic, not as busy as some, but you get a fair bit of foot traffic, pardon me, dog walkers and things. The problem with that, from a boating DIY point of view, is because you feel a bit of a prat, you know, when you're stood on the roof sweating like Billy-O, you know. I never say Billy-O, by the way, that's the first thing I've ever said it. Sweating like a madman in this kind of weather and stuff, you know, and just getting stuck in, and people walk past, so you're like, hello, you know, everything. Not that saying hello is I'm making out like saying hello is a problem, but I don't know, I just feel a bit weird. I don't know what's the matter with me at all. It's stupid, really, because you know, when you're not in a marina, you have to use the towpath to do all of your DIY and your painting, and you know, all these things, they have to happen while you're moored up on the towpath. So I just need to get a bit more hard-faced, but you know, let's just say Streethay is a better place for it than Whittington, and you can wear the scruffy t-shirt, you know, you can dress more scruffily. With Streethay being so posh, I don't know, I feel a bit of a scruff bag, you know, in a horrible old mangy t-shirt or something. Anyway, you know, whatever, enough of that nonsense. But in this weather anyway, I'm going to have to watch a little bit, because the phones are at risk of overheating if they're out in the sun too long. I could have made this move tomorrow, but tomorrow is blazing sun all day, and at least now we had blazing sun for a few hours, and it's blazing, then it's off, like it's slightly cloudy, so we get a break from the sun every 20 minutes or so. We'll get a bit of a break. But tomorrow we won't get any break, which reminds me, maybe I'm more under trees. I feel like that I'm giving it some revs here, but I feel like I'm not travelling very fast. Right, and there's the boat in front of me. I'm gonna fractionally turn down the revs. He's turned them right down. He's turned them right down. What a polite guy. What an absolute star. He's turned the revs right down. And what I don't want to do is do that thing where you close up on a boat, you know, and give them the impression you want them out of the way. I don't want to do that to him, because he's been a proper gentleman and slowed down. So I'm going to keep a distance from him. But yeah, unfortunately we're into that season now where the heat, the sun, it's uncomfortable. Like, we were desperate for the sun in the winter, and in like April it was cloudy all the time and raining, and just, it wasn't a great month. May wasn't sensational for that matter, but now we're into the proper warm weather now. This is a proper narrow section as well. Yeah, I'm glad I left it till, I could have gone this morning, but the other good thing as well is that there's a wharf that closes. It'll close like 5:30, 6 p.m. I'll be able to sort of sneak in and fill up with water, and that doesn't sound like a big deal really, but what it'll do is it'll save me having to go up to Fradley Junction, which is, you know, I could fill up with water tomorrow. They're pretty decent actually. It's only a small charge anyway. I wouldn't normally be bothered, to be honest, planning a big sort of manoeuvre just to avoid paying three or four quid. I do sometimes wonder if I could do it like one of those brollies, those giant brollies. What are they called? Not a parasol, is it? Is it a parasol? You know, is that a boat? There's a boat, but he's moored. What I don't want is to meet a boat coming the other way here. thankfully, I mean, I've gotten in a convoy of 3, so this, you know, watching this you would think, bloody hell, that's a busy afternoon then, isn't it? Like in the winter I wouldn't see 3 boats all day sometimes. But I think I've just been a bit unlucky in that respect. I don't think this is going to be typical. And generally speaking, it does quieten down as the afternoon goes on. That's another reason to leave later. Afternoon. That's a good spot under the tree there, isn't it?
I'm not being bloody roasted. I want to move up to Whittington. How far is Whittington?
It's not far, you know, mate. Yeah, no, it's like a mile. Yeah. There's a few trees up there. Not as good as that though. Right, so I'm just aiming for the bridge hole properly. Because while I was talking to the guy there, I wasn't. And I need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over just before the winding hole, and I'm going to let this guy go past. It's literally within, it feels like it's within 100 yards of the winding hole, of this bridge. Oh shit. Cheers. Is that the winding hole, mate? Yeah? Can't really see it very well. Right, okay. I'm going to pull over. I'm going to pull over because there's another boat coming. Now this is going to seem a bit silly, but I've got an oncoming boat. Got an oncoming boat, and I don't know where the winding hole is. So I'm going to pull myself over and take stock, because there's a boat coming from behind as well as one in front. You got a boat coming through. So this is all a bit of a palaver, really. It's all a bit of a palaver, but it will pay off. It would have been a bit of a nightmare trying to pass by them and then turn. Hi guys. Okay, I think this is an excellent opportunity. I'm going to push out in the hope that there's no more boats following me. Right, pushed out. Let's go. So I'm going to make the turn. Not sure if the wind's going to be a factor because we've got trees all around and it's not a strongly windy day. But here's the winding hole, so got to make me turn, and I'm feeling like the best way is to swing into it, isn't it? Yeah, the reason I pulled over there, partly it's to avoid all the hassle, but they were on, I would have had to be on this side to let that boat pass, and you can't be too far over. If you want to do, you want to get into a winding hole, you've got to sort of be around the middle. And I wasn't going to be able to make it. This has got to be it. This has got to be the winding hole. So I think what I'll do is I'll see if I can make a turn in there. There's a canoeist, so I don't know if they're likely to, how fast they'll be going. Some of them go faster than narrowboats, you know, cruising narrowboats, but others not. So I'm closing up on the far side, so I'm just going to put this thing in reverse, let the back end carry on swinging round. Afternoon. And I need to get away from that bank to give myself room to turn. Thankfully no more boats. I had the feeling what I was in was like a blip of traffic. It wasn't like really hardcore traffic. And that's the way it goes with boats, especially in the summer, honestly. Right, so I'm coming round, so I think I need to get some reverse on. Okay, heading for the bank, but I think I can bring it round with one more go. Not too sure. You know when you don't want to get too close to the bank. So let's start the thing there. Left out a tad late, I was about sort of 3 feet away. Oh! Stood on a chain. Slipped. Could have gone overboard. This is how easy it is. So I'm backing forward and this is bringing the front end round. So this is the last leg of the turn, the last point. I'm going to have to do this trip again in another week or so when the central heating unit, or however long it takes. I mean, the worst case scenario, I might have to buy a brand new one and my guy might have to install that. And all told, if the next repair fails, which fingers crossed it doesn't, the next repair is going to be a glow plug. I think they're called glow pins. That's the next idea. Should have replaced it anyway, to be honest, but we were trying to do things on the cheap for different reasons. With the option of a brand new one in mind, I didn't want to throw good money after bad. Anyway, that backfired because the guy took me too seriously and didn't replace the glow pin. So now it's got to be stripped down again, which is a good half an hour's labour really. Even for someone who knows what they're doing, it's probably 15-20 minutes of you know, fairly swift labour. Not a small job. And also I can slow down because there's an old guy with a massive beard in a boat just after the bridge. And you know, I don't want to cause him any unnecessary shaking around. Hello again. Is it me, mate? Yeah, I'm heading up to Streethay. Yeah. Couple of days up there. I'll try and find some trees. Yeah, I might see you further up. Don't know what he was saying. He made some presumably fairly astute comments. He looked exactly like the guy in Life of Brian, the old guy in the loincloth. I barely remember the film. I remember it being extremely funny, but I remember there was an old guy with a long beard, balding old guy. He looked like his double, or the way I remember him. The things we say about people when we're at a safe distance and out of earshot. Oh my God. But he did a little bit, come on. I mean, I'm saying, you know, comedy effect and everything, but he did a bit. So the good news is, my setting off when I did, which must have been about 3:30. The good thing that's given me is not as much traffic, because the traffic certainly this morning it was steady. Every 5 minutes there was a boat, and when you're doing a 3-hour cruise, you know, it starts getting on my nerves, to be honest. Having boats every 5 minutes, it starts getting on my, just it gets a bit of a faff. I can't be bothered. What I've been in an unusual situation, right? The last couple of summers I've had an unusual situation. Like the summer of 2022, I spent a lot of it, certainly the early part of it, between sort of Chester, Ellesmere Port, that general area. And that's super quiet, no boats. The only boats ever go up that stretch are the ones headed for the museum, the Waterways Museum. So, you know, I had no traffic, it was quiet, it was lovely, it was a lovely set. That sun's, do you know what, brilliant. While the sun's out, I mean, come on, I've got the solution. And it's a safety issue as well, actually, because this sun is really, really hot. And I've noticed a lot of the boats on this section have got these huge parasols. I don't know what that, I need to just check. That doesn't look very good, does it? I mean, it's never going to look brilliant. I'm never going to look sophisticated. But the good thing about this is this low brim keeps the sun off of my the side of my face, cheeks and nose and stuff, I think. So, you know, for safety, that's better, that's what you want. And I need to put some protection factor on my arms, because and I need to get off the side. That's really annoying. I've allowed myself to drift into the side. And the thing about doing that is it's damaging for the paintwork, you know. I mean, it takes enough stick just in the general rough and tumble at locks and mooring stone banks, I don't know, you know, all sorts of things. So doing it through neglect, you're not doing yourself any favours really. But you know, I'm gonna ease off on the revs in a mo, because there's another motorboat, another one with a parasol as well. That's 3 on the run with these parasols on the roofs. Is that boat behind moving, or is it that guy? I'll find out in a minute. So I'm gonna head back. I'm gonna go past Whittington, which is the spot I was in, and I'm going to continue up to Streethay, and hopefully I'll get to Streethay after 6 p.m. and I'll be able to use the water entirely free, which will be nice. And it's good because it means I don't mind paying for it, but it means I don't have to get the boat back down there. Because don't forget, right, I go past the marina, the wharf. If I do that, I need to slow down here. If I go past the marina, the boat's facing the wrong way, I've got to tow it back. It won't reverse. I'll have to literally tow the boat back to the marina. Loads of dragonflies knocking about. Not seeing any evidence of horseflies. I wonder if there'll be some up by Streethay. I saw one. I definitely saw one the other day. They're all moored, yeah. I definitely saw one. Right, hang on, get some revs on. Never going to arrive. What time is it now? 16:37. Whittington. The place where I was is now about 3/4 of a mile. Yeah, it's a short cruise. It's a short cruise, but it'll take well over an hour. I'd say it's about 2.5 miles cruising, 2 as the crow flies, perhaps. And at this time of the afternoon, I may be lucky and not get too many boats coming the other way. So, you know, be a nice sort of chilled cruise for the summer. So I'm just getting myself back over to my side, or at least more towards the middle anyway. And I'm on a bend. I think I'll give it a quick blast. Give it a quick blast just in case, because I can't see. It's really narrow. You're not still on, are you? No. It's really narrow. This is literally one boat wide and a little bit. The reeds are so far out here. The reeds are so far out. In that little section, you're down to one boat width. And it's on a bend. So it's one of those little spots where you've got to keep your eye open for oncoming boats. You've got to enjoy the weather, really. I mean, I'm moaning about it, saying it's uncomfortable. It's not as, yeah, you're not as comfortable as you want to be, because you're constantly perspiring all day long. You know, you're never not sweating to some extent. But it's like that for people in normal situations as well. Unless your house has got aircon, which not many houses have in the UK, most people on a day like today will be sweating for a good part of the day. But it does raise the question in my mind, should I look when I'm more at Streethay that I've got an option not to stop at the bridge where I did, but to carry on for about 300 yards and more under some trees. And I've got to say, it would make a real difference to comfort, but it is a further ride on the bike and it's a rubbish towpath, and I'm a little bit further away and on my own. Where I was by the bridge, you see, I know, cowardly custard again, where I was by the bridge, I'm only about 200 or 300 yards away from the moored boats at Streethay Wharf, the marina, the residential moorings there. So, you know, if I had any trouble, let's say, and I'm not going to use the word axe, or, well, I've used the word axe, I'm not going to use the other word that goes with it, but if I was to have any trouble, there are people close by who would hear me, I hope, anyway. One never knows for sure. But look at, I want to show you this. There's an unusual window type thing set in, like a gated barred window set into the stone of the bridge. Let's put the thing down. There's no wind, so the hat's safe. It's happened a couple of times. Well, certainly one time a hat was blown straight off my head. Another time it was blown off the roof. So never take it for granted. But yeah, I'm sorry if I look horrendous, but what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I've got hat hair now, but it's worth it. But look at these places. I mean, look at these places. Look, you've got Armco, big long stretch of Armco, all the way from the bridge and running up here. It's quiet, it's rural. There's no towns. The nearest town is Whittington, back, you know, the way I'm headed. There's nothing back there. for another 5 miles, nothing of any size. So it's beautiful, it's rural, it's quiet. If you wanted peace and quiet, even in, you know, high summer, English summer, you could come to a place like this, you could still find it. The canals, yes, the canals are busy to cruise on, you know, and they always will be in the summer, and they sort of need to be, because the business needs to be there for CRT, the authorities, to, you know, earn the money to keep these things up, to cut it's constant maintenance, fixing things, grass cutting, general maintenance, it's non-stop. Anyway, so they need the business, yeah. I have sometimes said, oh, wouldn't it be lovely just to be on the canal like with like a tenth of the number of boats, you know, and you'd only see another boat twice a day, kind of like you do in the winter. But the truth is, it would be unsustainable. CRT would never maintain, they would never spend the money, they wouldn't be able to maintain 2,000 miles of navigable waterways. They would never spend that money. Well, as I say, they wouldn't have the money, they wouldn't be given the money, and they wouldn't be able to make it. So they would fall into disrepair, or the locks would be closed, so you could cruise a certain amount of distance, but then you'd be stopped because the locks wouldn't be working. They'd be like sealed off. They would seal off zones, and they'd stop maintaining the locks, which must cost them a lot of time and money. They really must, those locks. There's just so much. Anyway, time to get the hat back on. And heading for the bank. So I'm just going to have a quick style check. I don't know, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's looking better than the first time. Maybe I've got it the right way round this time. No, it's uniform, isn't it? It's all uniform, it's just round. Anyway, whatever the truth of the matter, I'm happier with the hat in this state than I was previously. So we must be on the approach to Whittington again now, because I'm recognising some of these things from having passed them earlier on. And of course, once we get to Whittington, I know then that it's no more than, say, an hour and a half. I can't remember, I did this trip just a few days ago. I had to do the trip, right? Now, I'm not admitting to anything legally. You know, any statements I make here are for entertainment purposes and are not in any way an admission of factual accuracy or truth. But I've had to move away from Streethay because with the guy falling ill fixing the central heating, I was delayed, and so I moved down to Whittington, but there's no point staying at Whittington because I can't get to the guy, so I've got to move back to Streethay. So strictly speaking, I'm breaking the rules, but I have got broken equipment on board. So if you do phone CRT, so like a major engine breakdown and that kind of thing, they will give you time. Or if you're sick, if you've got COVID or some serious sickness, they will say, okay, stay there a few more days or something. So I don't know, look, the guy's trying to do his best, but he's really not well, and I'm trying to hang around to give him time to fix it. But CRT are going to start seeing me in the same places too often, and they're going to object. Wow, that sun. Wow. Now we're out in the open and it's out in force. But if you notice though, no oncoming boats. After I made that turn and I got out of that sequence of that little mini convoy we were in, not seen a boat since, not moving anyway. It's that time of day. It's funny, even in summer. The Llangollen was a bit different. They stay busy till later in the day up there. And there's always the odd boat who'll turn up at the services to get water at 9 p.m. And for that matter, there's always the odd boat who sets off at 6 a.m. and even earlier. Sometimes very, very rarely in the winter, but now and again in the summer, you'll hear a boat going past and see its lights at about sort of 10 p.m, 11 p.m, sometimes midnight. I'm sure there was one in the middle of the night. But you know, look, I've been on board for nearly 4 years, so for that to only happen once, it's a rare thing. The middle of the night boaters, it's a fairly rare thing, but it's not uncommon in the summer to see them going past at like 10 p.m, and certainly at 6. I'd say most mornings, actually, most mornings about 6 a.m, between 6 and 7, there'll be one or two boats go past, and you know what as well, they don't even slow down. One went past, I think it was yesterday or this morning, and the boat was rocking like mad. So they don't spare the horses, which you would think, if you're going to set off at the crack of bloody dawn, at least take it easy, you know. Must be approaching Whittington now. I'm sure I recognise this bend. I'll slow down for these boats because I'm going to pass the boats shortly that were moored not far from me here. Right, let's slow down. You going for a paddle, yeah? Nice, nice. There's a boat, it would appear, casting off in front of me. So I don't know whether they'll seal the deal and get themselves out, or whether they'll chase me. Are they ready to go? No, they're not quite ready, are they? I like your mooring pins there. Yeah, nice. Are they like bigger than normal? Oh, it's all right, guys. I better watch out. Take care. Hiya. You seem to have some huge square mooring pin. Afternoon. Well, he seemed a nice sort. Hello again. Now, I'm not going to rev up to the full 1300. I'll do 12. And the reason for that is because I might as well wait until the marina's closed now. It's an hour till it closes. Now I think it'll take an hour to get to Streethay. May take more. I think it's about 2.5 miles. Now, I'm doing about 2 miles an hour. There's moored boats a lot of the way, as I recall. So I'm going to be doing 2 miles an hour. So 2 miles, you know, it's going to take me an hour. So I'm going to be shortly after 6 o'clock. So yeah, the speed I'm doing, all this will work out great. Now the only fly in the ointment, flies in ointment again, I can't let it go, can I? But the only potential fly in the ointment is a boat appears behind me wanting to speed past. But you know, I'll just pull over. I'll just pull over and let them past. This is one situation where I'm not in a hurry. I'm in an anti-hurry. Well, yeah, lovely little spot, Whittington. No complaints. It's civilised. It's quiet. The people seem nice. It's absolutely fine. Hiya. We've got a lovely day for it today. Oh, a beer. Naughty, naughty. I didn't mean naughty, naughty. I meant like in the sort of Howard What was his name? Oh no! What was his name? Not really naughty, of course. I would probably have a beer in my hand myself. Where I'm not responsible for, you know, navigation of a vessel, doing my master and commander bit. So this is all still Whittington. I suppose I could. Oh my God, there's more. I should have. I'm heading for the bank. Am I seeing the A38 ahead? There's some HS2 work going on around here as well. So I've noticed my route to get to the local co-op runs right through the building site for HS2, but they've put like a footpath through so you can so you can get in and out from the canal. It's all a bit precarious really, but you can do it, so you know, mustn't grumble. Towpath looks overgrown in there. I bet it doesn't get an awful lot of use, this stretch of towpath. I'm in the strange position, I'm approaching a moored boat and I don't need to slow down because I'm going so slowly anyway. 2.5, 2.6, well maybe not that slowly. Oh, 2.3. Do you know what, I'm not even going to get into that game. Again, nice moorings here. Just south of King's Orchard. Plenty of space on the Armco. Very quiet, super rural, you know. Even in the heady days of summer, with boats rushing everywhere, it is still possible to find quiet spots. That boat bike looks a bit precarious on the outside like that, doesn't it? Hung up with rope. So we're coming up to King's Orchard Marina. I'm just going to put a little bit of tick over revs on. I'm going to be slightly early to get water. It's 5:45 and I'll be there in about 5 minutes. I did go in, by the way. I'm not being like a big renegade, you know, bandit or anything. I did go in and get a diesel top up, and I bought some boating accoutrement, you know, some bits and bobs. I spent a good like 60 odd quid in there, I think, on different things. So so I was a half decent customer for them, so they probably wouldn't mind anyway me stopping by for a fill-up. So here's the entrance to King's Orchard Marina. Now I'm going to see this because I'm coming back this way, and I don't know when exactly. Obviously CRT want it to be no more than 2 weeks. Diesel £1.11, that's not too bad, to be fair. And they've got a chandlery. I might pop in, you know, on the way past, see what kind of stuff they've got. So that was King's Orchard Marina. Oh, and there's a little secure gate as well. So it's all secure, even here, middle of nowhere. There's no towns. The nearest town is Lichfield, 1.5 miles over that way. One bridge, 2 bridges, then Streethay. So first bridge coming up. This would be a great, look at this. Another great spot just outside King's Orchard Marina. Loads of Armco. I don't know why more people don't moor here, really. Not seeing signs yet, still of horseflies. I'm pretty sure that was one I saw inside the boat yesterday. I don't know, maybe I attract insects. I can't explain it, but it does seem like they try to get me at every opportunity. Like there's a conspiracy. An insect conspiracy. There's a new one. I think if we were playing conspiracy top trumps, you know, what's the most ludicrous? I think I've just come up with it there. You know, 5G being an alien mind control thing, or whatever else. You know, I'm making them up. Fair enough, I'm making them up. Forget about all that. You know, the insect conspiracy, the horsefly conspiracy is the one you've got to worry about. Or at least you would if I hadn't just fabricated the entire thing. Right, I'm pretty sure I can see Streethay Wharf up ahead. Right. Excuse me, hiya. Do you think it would be okay if I get some water? Thank you very much indeed, madam. You're very kind. I don't need too much, to be honest. Fantastic. Well, that wasn't the best stop I've ever done. I can't lie. Fantastic. But yeah, I popped in, to be honest, for a diesel top up about 2 weeks ago, and I saw some paint.
Yeah, got it all down the bottom.
Yeah, so
Do you know what shade it is?
it's called Heritage Green.
Oh, Heritage
Let me just switch this engine off, I think. But it's called Heritage Green, but the trouble is it's really expensive. And I'm thinking, just to do the roof, because see where all the coals knackered the paint. I was thinking, just for the sake of the roof, I could probably get away with something that was close.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be exact. But anyway, to be honest with you, don't worry about it, because what I'll do, I'm only going to head north a few miles anyway. Hiya, mate. And I'll be popping back this way, probably in 2 weeks at most. So I'll stop in anyway, I'll get a diesel top up, and I'll check out the paints.